Hello and welcome to the Grand Campaign recap of Session 7. This happens to be the last session of the current Grand Campaign, bringing a close to Season 1. Either way, as always, this video will be an overview of the important wars, events and developments that have occurred during the 7th session. Since this is pretty much the definition of late game EU4, a chronological order will be used for the recap. Remaining players, 14. 2 in the New World, 5 in Europe, 2 in Africa and 5 in Asia. A lot of background diplomacy occurred between the sessions, and in short there was an agreement to coalition the Ottomans between the French and the Delhi players. The plan involved a game mechanic bypass of the alliance rules, forming a coalition. This would work since everyone is basically sitting at least 100 plus AE with each other anyway, because of the aggressive expansion necessary to eat the world at this time. As such, France and Delhi attempted to find more allies against the Ottomans to join their coalition, but this wide approach to recruitment meant the Ottomans soon found out about that plan. Hence, to prevent it, on day 0, literally before the initial unpause, they had declared war on Delhi themselves. Not willing to leave their ally to die alone, France followed suit, and in the pause also declared war on the Ottomans. And with that, the 3 superpowers geared for war. The Ottomans built up to their multiple million force limit, and started their war on both fronts. A little bit into the war, Yuan, who was informally allied the Ottomans, joined in, independently declaring war on Delhi and their ally Khmer, dragging in Japan in the process. Not wanting to be left out of the fun, GB finally put aside their differences with Peru and California, and joined together in a coalition against the French, declaring the war shortly after. At this point it would seem that the world was at war, but that was not its limit. Again, not wishing to be left out, and in a very surprise move, Russia declared war on Germany, putting themselves in direct conflict with the French, who were defending the Germans. A declaration which meant that at that point, the only players who were not engaged in a player war were Mutapa, Malaya and Morocco. Regardless, this was the peak of the conflict, with the world mostly at war. Again, for the actual battles, feel free to look at the stream, since there are about 2 hours in total worth of well-played, properly reinforced battles to work through, something that is impossible to fit into the recap. Either way, as millions already lay dead across the fields of Delhi and in Ottoman-held Hungary, just for the initial war itself, some resolution to the conflict was in order. The start of the decline in war occurred with the French, who, unable to make any headway into the Ottoman behemoth, offered a white peace, and the Ottomans were happy to accept, as they themselves wished to focus on Delhi at this point. This allowed for France to focus their armies on Russia, leading to them taking a knockout blow, and with Germany getting a lot more land out of the Russians, especially in Scandinavia. The Ottomans, again seeing weakness, took this opportunity backed by Yuan and Japan to go in against themselves later too. But going back to the chronological order, with the bulk of the Ottoman troops no longer distracted France, the Ottomans were able to achieve victory there, taking themselves some land from Delhi. On the other side, Yuan, backed by Japan, were also able to take the Yuan victory card from Khmer, knocking Khmer down a peg in the process. With quite a few wars coming to a close, another war that remained was the French punitive war against Peru, California and GB. France already had almost 50 war score, almost enough for a white peace, but the fortune of the war soon turned against them. The white peace of the Ottomans had expired, and as the Ottomans went in again to France, after a very good fight, was forced to concede, leading to the Ottomans securing a lot of French fort lands in Austria. However, this distraction allowed the coalition forces to land and secure the crossing into North Africa. Keeping out the weak French navy and forcing the French to resort to fighting there was almost inclusively mercenaries. Many a close battle followed here, with the war score at one point almost tipping back to the negative for the French, albeit eventually they were able to beat back this landing even with mercenaries alone. This led to the conclusion of the war being quite an interesting chase deep into mainland Africa, with the remaining coalition forces literally hiding from the main French stacks to avoid themselves being stack wiped. Regardless, even with that pain and suffering, the French were still able to secure a victory. The final session drew to a close with a couple clean-up wars, Yuan into Khmer and Delhi, a war fought well but ultimately without much success for Khmer and Delhi, and a Japanese invasion of Russia. But with the time up, and the last session had come to a close. Well, with this campaign over, let's look at the final scores. The winner of the Grand Campaign is Lystras, leading the Ottomans to victory with 20,857 points. Congratulations to him. Yuan and Delhi were second and third, with 11,854 and 11,057 points respectively. Congratulations to them both too. The remaining leaderboards can be seen on the screen now. And with that, the Grand Campaign recap for Session 7 has come to an end. Either way, I'll see you all in the next campaign.